Excellent. So the flow for the webinar is I'm going to talk more or less about 20-25 minutes. We'll talk about a little bit about Altius Systems, who we are, our PanaCast 2 camera technology, the feature and the brilliant feature that we've introduced in intelligent zoom, and the PanaCast Vision with the whiteboard functionality that we've brought in, and a little sneak peek on the upcoming products. Take a quick look at the use cases, and we'll take on your Q&As. So 2011 is memorable for our UK audience. I know that that was the last time a royal wedding happened, so it's quite memorable. For us, people in the US where we're based, 2011 was memorable because we founded Altius Systems. So in 2013, Intel came on board as the lead investor, and Altius Systems became an Intel portfolio company. We since have more investments that have been made in our company, so we're growing, and we're putting our flags at different places in the world as far as PanaCast technology goes. Where are we based? We're about 40 miles south of San Francisco in the Apple country called Cupertino. As you know, Apple's headquarters down the street from us. And people who use Apple devices know where Cupertino is. But we're on the West Coast, in the Pacific time zone, in California. We FCS'd our camera back 2 years ago, and then since then we've expanded to pretty much all four corners of the world. We see a strong presence in Europe, in Australia, obviously in North America, and we're slowly expanding to other regions, as in Asia and Central Eastern Europe as well. We're a team of very dedicated and very brilliant engineers, a lot of brilliant engineers in our team, and we continue to file patents. We have about 33 patents filed, almost 10 have been granted. So we continue to bring on innovative technology to our end customers, to our partners as well. I'll talk a little bit about our business growth. We first FCS'd the camera in 2015, late September, early October 2015. Since then, we have about 1,000 customers and companies that have purchased, or our customers who have used PanaCast 2 cameras in about 38 countries. We see a lot of growth in the enterprise, a lot of pull from enterprise and small, medium business. And if you talk about verticals, we see the education institutions of higher learning, universities. Basically, they're looking at PanaCast 2 camera, and they've incorporate that in their remote learnings in other scenarios as well. There are some examples that we can talk. I can show some slides on that as well. And the rate of innovative technology that we've brought is, we continuously keep on bringing new feature and functionality around PanaCast products. In Q3 last year, 2016, we brought in the VR mode, which is a blending mode of how the images from one camera blends into the adjacent camera. And this allowed the door to open. This allowed for our end customers to take their PanaCast camera outdoors as well. Take some brilliant shots in the outdoors with the blending mode, where you do not see any stitching. And then in Q4 2016, we created a PanaCast 3D VR kit. What it allows you to do is capture the 3D video content. So two cameras are built together in a biomimetic way, where each camera system is synchronized itself internally. But these two cameras, they act as two human eyes. They're strobe synchronized, and they're able to allow you to capture 3D video content, which you can either store it and then load it up to YouTube, or and use some 3D VR 3D playback applications to view your generated content as well. At the end of Q4 also, we built PanaCast 2S. It is in QA testing right now. What PanaCast 2S does is there's a little bit the same hardware as PanaCast 2, but a little bit of different in architecture, where the real-time video streams are not processed within the camera, but are actually delivered to the Panacast, to the Intel Skull Canyon computer that it is connected to. Because that computer has much more horsepower, it can run the algorithms of stitching and rendering, and then instead of giving you a 4-megapixel 4K camera, that Intel Skull Canyon can deliver a 7.4 megapixel real-time stitched video stream, which can give you about 4 to 5x lossless zoom. So that's pretty powerful. It's in QA. We hope to bring it in the market next year. Then at ISE Amsterdam, we introduced Intelligent Zoom. I'm running Intelligent Zoom right now in my camera. As you can see, it detects that you're not probably able to see the 180-degree field of view. The reason being that the camera is detecting me being the only person sitting in this conference room. As soon as my colleagues walk in, which we'll do a quick demo for you guys as well, the camera would detect the facial markers of individual persons, and then it would zoom out to include everybody that it sees in its field of view. We also introduced Panacast micro camera, which in March. It's again a conceptual product, but we demonstrated to the world that we can miniaturize these multi-image, multi-camera systems and still capture 120 to 180, 140-degree field of view. So we have partnered with some of the world's leading phone camera manufacturers, and there are more good, exciting stuff that's more to come actually from Altius Systems. By popular demand, we also introduced Panacast in black. Initially, when we first rolled out Panacast camera, it was only available in silver color with the good quality design and finish. Some of our customers have always wondered if it's an Apple device, right? But so that's that we like those kind of comments. But and we introduced the Panacast in black color as well. So. And it fits in really nicely, and that was introduced by popular demand because customers wanted. First of all, it's a really small footprint. However, when you offer it in black and you mount it either above or below the display monitor, you don't even know there's a camera mounted there. So it works really well, blends in with the bezels. Last. Introduction to Panacast Whiteboard. We brought Panacast Whiteboard at Infocom early June 2017 this year, and it's a really good technology which allows you to capture your actual physical whiteboards, whether these are whiteboards or flip charts or whatever it may be. You can define the area, you can capture it, and the camera orthogonally corrects it and presents it as a whiteboard that you can share with your remote attendees. So let's talk about Panacast 2 camera. For those of you who are not familiar with Panacast 2, it's a really small device. As you can see, it's smaller than the palm of a person. And what it is there are 3 cameras mounted at the camera head. It's an array of cameras. We take real-time video from each of these cameras, and we deliver a 180-degree field of view and 54-degree tall. And it's a very natural human perspective way of looking at things. So this is a really cool picture from one of our industry attendances at shows, where you can see I'm sitting on one edge and Erin is sitting on the other edge of a small huddle room scenario that we had created in that at our booth. And for people who are viewing this from the other side, from the remote side, we all look pretty much. It's a very natural way of looking. This is how you want to interact with other people. It's basically your seat at the table. You would also notice, compared to any wide angle or fisheye lens kind of cameras, there are no scalar or radial distortions, right? The objects and the edges of the picture are the same size as the objects in the middle, and there's no loss of resolution as well. They're pretty much even resolution across the picture of the 180-degree field of view that you have. It gives, there are a lot of positives that you can draw from such a wide field of view. It's more engaging. You get room dynamics, get the read of the people who are sitting. Sometimes when you're using mechanical pan, tilt, and zoom cameras, you pan to the right side, and you can only see the right side. But if you pan to the left side, the right side is no more to be seen. So with Panacast, if with 180-degree field of view, not only do you see right side and the left side, but you see right, left, and center. So really cool stuff, really powerful. Looking under the hood, a little bit about the technology. I know there are a lot of us who work in the audio video realm, and their basic engineering background. So, and people who have those, they really appreciate the way we've built this device. It's an, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, it's an array of three cameras mounted on the camera head. So an array of camera systems that is taking real-time video and feeding that video to that Panacast video processor. So that's an onboard processor that is within the camera. And what it does is it's running our algorithms, and after taking the real-time video, we process those, we stitch them within 5 milliseconds. So it's a very quick stitching, ultra-fast stitching of the real-time video that is coming from 3 different cameras. And once that stitching occurs, we render those images on a virtual cylinder, apply geometric corrections, and deliver a 3840 by 1080p resolution real-time video stream through USB 3.0 interface. And that is compatible to both, actually, that video stream that comes out can be connected to a USB 2.0 or USB 3.0. So it's compatible to both 3.0 and 2.0 ports.
Okay. Javed, I've just been asked, is it necessary to download any particular software in order to use the camera?
Very good question, Steve, and thanks. Keep them coming. Sometimes in my flow, I tend to forget minor things like that.
I'm here.
Yeah.
That's okay. You keep going. You're doing well.
No, it's good. A good question. No, you do not have to download any drivers. You do not have to download any software to run your Panacast with your Windows, Mac, or Chrome for meeting boxes, or even Linux devices. I'll talk more about that in my next slide. What we are saying is whether you want to use, and because it's a USB plug and play, so there's no driver to download except for Windows 7. I know there's still a small or large, however you look at it, there's a Windows 7 install base, but that requires that small driver. However, for Windows 10, Mac, Chrome for Meeting, Linux boxes, you do not need any driver. It's just purely plug and play. So it's supported on all operating systems, as well as all hardware, Windows, Macs, and not only that, it's also, since it's a USB plug and play, can work with all of your popular collaboration applications or video conferencing applications. Believe it or not, there are actually 45 or so video conferencing applications. I can only count 8 or 10, but yeah, there are plenty of those applications out there. So the Panacast works with all of these applications. We just only listed out the most popular ones: the Zooms, the WebEx, the Skype for Business, Google Hangouts, and you name it. Where you find majority of 80 to 90% of your enterprise uses these applications. So, and Panacast, the unique field of view comes in really handy. I mean, the camera really shines in a small huddle room space. As we've seen in the industry, the trend is becoming more and more towards small huddle room space. You can only put so many of the high-end video conferencing systems. Any enterprise cannot throw down $100,000 or even $30,000 conference room system, video conference room systems in 30 or 40 rooms of an enterprise. So with Panacast, what you get is you enable your huddle room spaces very quickly, very cost efficiently with Panacast 2 camera. All you need is Panacast camera, which captures the full 180-degree field of view, and you don't have to feel like you have to bunch up together. Only the one person sitting in front of a traditional single lens camera can be seen by the remote site. But with this use, people can sit across from the table in a relaxed manner and be seen by the remote site very easily. It's very versatile. You can order the PanaCast camera and place it on a table stand and move it from one conference room to another or one huddle room to another. All you have to do is just take the camera, and then you've enabled the other conference room with video as well. Or you can make it as a part of room resource, install it, and then just on a wall mount and plug it to whatever the room resource computer is. So you can really utilize that in a very easy manner. And the complexity is, there is no complexity actually. If you compare it with Polycoms and Cisco's, there's a lot more complexity. I didn't mention that, but I worked for Cisco for 13 years. I know the Cisco architecture. I know they make great products, but they also have to have their own ecosystem. There are, you install Polycoms, you install Cisco's, great products, by the way, but they're all in their own walled gardens, right? So if you want to bring in a third-party device, you cannot plug that into a Polycom system, right? With PanaCast, you can take it to any, today if you're using Zoom, or today if you're using Skype for Business, tomorrow if you change it to WebEx, you don't lose your investment. You can still utilize your PanaCast camera for the other video collaboration applications.
That's quite an important thing, isn't it? Really.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a great value point. Steve, how are we doing on time?
We are just gone 10 to 6.
Okay, excellent.
So we've been going about 22 minutes. So
okay, excellent. All right. So Intelligent Zoom. Intelligent Zoom, as you can see, I have turned on Intelligent Zoom. We can demo it right now in our call over here as well. But the slide up on the screen presents that Intelligent Zoom feature. You can see my colleague Priya is sitting there by herself, and the camera sees her sitting all by herself and detects there's nobody else. What it's doing, it's trying to look for facial markers, eyes, ears, nose, skin color, tone, etc. And if it does not detect any other person in its field of view, then it is going to zoom in on that person and tries to center that person in the middle. And as Alex joins Priya over here in the third shot, the camera detects Alex and moves up. And as Jesse joins Alex and Priya, the camera again detects there's another person who's joined the meeting and just zooms out and includes everybody. The way algorithms work is we are, this is by design, by the way. We are quicker to include and slower to exclude people. So for example, if I were to move away from the camera is not going to just automatically immediately zoom out to full 180 degrees. It's going to give me some time to come back into the field of view if I had just gone over to grab something. So in order to reduce that back and forth zoom in, zoom out motion, we've introduced that by design. However, if somebody walks in and we immediately include that person. So if you allow me for a second, I can go and grab one of my teammates. I'm gonna stop sharing. Thanks, Steve. I'm gonna stop sharing. As you guys saw my video, I've just invited my colleague Naveed over here, and as you saw, the camera immediately moved in, and it's trying to find an optimum window where it centers both of us in the middle of the video stream. And if I were to move a little bit farther and I'm still in the field of view, the camera is going to detect like, okay, it needs to bring me back into that field of view. So how it automatically adjusts that. So that's really cool. And the fun part about that is I don't have to have a remote control, so there's no batteries, no loss of remote control. There's no mechanical zoom in, zoom out. There's no noise or distractions as such. So thank you, Naveed, so much. I appreciate that. Thanks.
All right. Well, thank you ever so much. Good to see you.
Good to see you. Okay, and see, now that Naveed has left, it's going to detect that I'm by myself here in this conference room, and it is going to automatically zoom in on me. So as I mentioned, it is slower in excluding people, but quicker in including. So you must have seen the response when Naveed walked in, and the camera immediately detected that. So now it is, exactly. So now it's detecting that it's nobody in except by myself. So it's just zooming in on me. Going back to our slide deck. So that was what we talked about Panacast Intelligent Zoom.
Yeah, we've got a couple of questions. Is it okay?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Please.
So, first one, in your experience with customers using Panacast, is it better to use the stand or the mount?
A very good question. Actually, if you're majority, I'll tell you statistics. About 70 to 80% of our customers have been using it with wall mounts. Only 15 to 20% maybe with table stand, and that usually occurs when people are trying to test something and they want it on a table stand and they want to move it to another conference room, they want to move it to another conference room, and that's what happens. The other scenario could be some people do not want to, they have cadenzas and they feel like the stand is really well placed. They can put it on the table stand. The other reason sometimes people do offer with a table stand is to put the camera right at the table. It's a seat at the table. If you place the camera just at the edge of the table, it's basically captures the entire people as well. So yeah, it's about 80-20 as just
fantastic.
to answer.
One more quick one. Will the interactive screen recognize the camera for a Skype call if it's not directly connected to a PC or laptop?
Well, the interactive screen. So as long as, so if I'm trying to understand what kind of interactive screen are we talking about here?
Yeah, if you want to let me know, that's great. I'm assuming it means the the way it expands the camera, and will it work?
The touch screen. We're talking about the touch screen.
Yeah.
Yeah. The camera is supported. The camera has UVC. The camera is UVC compliant, and so it can work with interactive touch screens. The camera is usually, if it is connected to, if any camera works with those interactive touch screens through a, let's say, USB port, Panacast 2 will work as well.
Okay, great. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go.
I was just saying back over to you. So.
Okay, thanks. Yeah. So going back to Panacast Vision, and I'll quickly talk about Panacast Vision, and then we can do a quick demo for that as well. Panacast Vision is what you might have if some people have used it in the past, where there was an application called a small software that we allow the host to control the view from what they want to send it to remote site, right? So it's basically host control of Panacast video stream. Panacast Vision is an application that you can download. It's available for Windows. It will be soon available for Mac devices as well. What that does is once you download that Panacast Vision application, when you launch it, it is basically your virtual camera. If the camera is connected to the end computer and you launch that Panacast Vision, it would immediately detect there's a Panacast camera. It would draw the video and would display the video in this Panacast Vision video window. Now, since it is developed by Altius Systems, Panacast, we can provide you some cool features like you can zoom in, zoom out, you can pan in the room, you can set 4 or 5 presets with that, and that becomes your camera. So now your camera is Panacast Vision. So if you have to go tools or settings of any of these video collaboration applications, you don't choose Panacast, you would choose Panacast Vision as your camera, because now that is your camera, that's where your controls reside, and that's what you would be sending it out to the remote site.
Okay.
In that, as I talked about these controls over here, you would see there are panning controls. There's a zoom in, zoom out. There are preset controls. There are some camera controls, contrast, brightness that are offered in that application. By the way, that application, the Panacast Vision application, is free of charge. It's available to download. It allows you, as I mentioned, host controls. Now, in this Panacast Vision, there's a paid feature called Panacast Whiteboard. The Panacast Whiteboard in my next slide offers you these options or these controls. When you launch the Panacast Whiteboard, it has 5 buttons. The first one is a rescan or scanning of the room. What that does is the camera would actually do a geometric scan of the room. It would try to identify these concentric squares where they are located, and that would be the starting point of its whiteboard. And that's what our algorithms run to make sure to detect where the whiteboard is, and then orthogonally correct it and present it as a shareable content. You can also define manually what area or specify what area of the whiteboard do you want to show. You can save it as the whiteboard as a desktop, save it as a JPEG to desktop and share it with your remote attendees. You can also play around with the contrast settings, whether, how many times have you, gone to the whiteboard, picked up the marker and the marker does not have ink in it. It happens to me about almost 80, 90 times, right? And so with this contrast enhancement, you can always increase the readability of that. And the last feature is changing the whiteboard into a virtual camera. We'll talk about that more. And what that does is it allows the whiteboard, which is shareable content, take on the personality of your primary video camera as well, so that you can have a PowerPoint as well as the whiteboard shared at the same time. And so when we launch that whiteboard, this is how the whiteboard is going to show. The camera is actually looking at 180-degree field of view. And then the whiteboard, as you can see, the camera is looking the whiteboard at an angle, quite an angle, right? However, when you launch that whiteboard feature, the camera detects the marker, it extracts that region, it orthogonally corrects it and presents it. And this is how the shareable content becomes available to the host site that can be shared to shared with the remote parties. Okay, so let me go ahead and I'll stop sharing for now here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my complete desktop so I can show you what I'm doing. What I'm going to do, actually, the first thing I'm going to do is let me share my desktop here real quick.
I've just been asked while you're doing that,
Sure.
Javed, how big a room will the camera sort of work in? Work in a big, auditorium, lecture theatre, at a university, for example.
A very good question. Yeah, so the camera can work in small huddle room as well as in large huddle room, large auditoriums as well. I'll show you some pictures that you can decide for yourself. Obviously, it depends on the use case also. If you're using the camera in a small huddle room, then your objective is a little different, versus when you're using the camera in a large auditorium, your objective is different, right? So it works both. It excels in the small huddle rooms to capture everybody. It excels in the larger auditorium sound scenarios where it would capture wall to wall and give the room dynamics or the real-time video to the remote attendees, get them the feel of what exactly is going on at that remote end. So yeah, I forgot where I was. Okay, so I'm sharing my desktop, I guess.
Yes, you are. Yeah, indeed.
Excellent. Okay, so I have a Panacast Vision app. As you can see, this is my Panacast Vision app. It sits on my desktop. This is my Panacast. I just double-clicked it, and as you can see, this is the Panacast Vision app. Right now, you cannot see any video in that Panacast Vision app. It is because I have chosen Panacast as my camera for my Zoom call. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly go ahead in my Zoom call, and I'm just going to change my camera. I'm going to stop sharing for a second. Just allow me. Okay. And I'll just quickly check the Panacast Vision. And as you can see, you saw that graphic of Panacast Vision, and it immediately picked up as my second camera. So now you see 180-degree field of view in my Panacast Vision app, right? Yeah. And let me go ahead and share my desktop again. And here's my Panacast Vision app. Steve, can you confirm you're seeing that, right?
Yeah, I can. Yeah, we can.
Okay, excellent. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is, so we talked about this app. These are the controls where you can go plus, minus, all of that, and then you can do some presets. All of these cool things that you can do. These presets is very, very easy to set. You just keep it clicked, and then it just like how you preset your audio buttons on your car stereo. So going back, resetting it and then just clicking it, making it disappear. When you click on that, it says whiteboard, as you saw that. Once I click on that whiteboard, what it does is it would provide me these controls, and it's already going to go ahead and I had saved that position, but what it's done is it's captured the whiteboard over here, and it's real time. As you can see, I can write something. It's available. It's all real time. The other way, so it did an automatic scanning, and what it was looking for was this virtual, concentric squares over here. This is a marker that's available on our website, would be available, and you can download it from our website, or we would be shipping these in our boxes as well with the cameras. Very easy. If you don't have anything, you can even just draw it by yourself, as easy as that. The other option over here is manual. What manual does is, if I click on manual, what the camera has done is it's taken a screenshot of the room, and it has taken a screenshot, but it also allows me to not only mark my whiteboard, and it guides me, and it tracks my marking as well. So as you can see, it's telling me, go ahead and mark my first point, mark my second point, mark my third, and my fourth, and I just marked it, and in a second, it just extracted that and showed me the whiteboard. And it seems like the camera is placed at 90 degrees to the whiteboard, whereas you can see in the video where how the camera is looking at it. So yeah, the algorithms are doing a really great job in orthogonally correcting any curvature that you would see in that, right? Increase the whiteboard readability, magic, right? We love Harry Potter. We are doing our own little Harry Potter stuff over here, right? So, and then the other thing you can see is, if I click on this, it would make this window disappear, and it would, in that small thumbnail that you're seeing, it would make the whiteboard as a virtual camera. And if you pay attention on your thumbnails, now my whiteboard has become has taken over the role as a virtual camera. I can bring it back to my shareable content, or I can make it as a video as well. Why do I want to make it as a video? When I make it as a video, it allows me to share my PowerPoint as shareable content. You cannot do two shareable contents in any video conference, right? So this allows you to make the camera or make the whiteboard as your primary video, and then do your shareable as you were to do shareable content. It's very powerful in case of, think of a use case scenario where you're talking about education, and the professor or instructor wants to just do some whiteboarding, but there's a content also being shared as a PowerPoint, so That way the students don't have to see the instructor. They can see the whiteboard, they can see the PowerPoint, both the things at the same time. So really cool stuff. And I can bring it back. So I'm gonna stop sharing that. Any questions, Steve, around this?
No, not at the moment. No, but if anybody listening's got any questions, by all means, feed them through to me.
Excellent. Okay. Let me go back to my slides. Okay. So we saw that the demo of Whiteboard. I'm just going to talk quickly, very quickly about upcoming products. I know we're running a little close to our time, 6-7 minutes to go. There are a couple of products that are coming. PanaCast Vivid is coming in the next 2 weeks' time. It is the HDR functionality that would become available on the PanaCast cameras. And then we already talked about PanaCast 2S. It would deliver a 7.4 megapixel by basically delivering all the video to the raw video to the Intel Skull Canyon, and then have that processed and rendered by the Intel Skull Canyon. Quickly go through some of our customers' use case scenarios. GoDaddy is using it for their conference rooms. The camera is really small with 80-inch wide screens. Presents a really nice view of that. There was a question on how big a room can the PanaCast camera work. So this is from University of Western Sydney that they have installed the camera to capture their 300 seating auditorium. You don't need to zoom in, zoom out. Just take that camera, place it over there, and then it captures the entire auditorium in a very nice way for the remote attendees.
Okay, fantastic.
Arcadia.
Sorry to interrupt, Javed. Just been asked a direct question. How can people buy the PanaCast camera? What are the options?
Well, you can buy it through Intermedia and through our distributors. And if you're in the US, contact us. Reach out to Steve and Doug. They can provide you our contact information. If you're based in UK, I think at the end of webinar, Steve will provide you information on how to
I will certainly do that. Yeah, the gentleman who asked has asked twice now, so I was going to leave it to the end, but I thought I better, just.
I've got a great idea, Steve.
I've
got a great idea.
Javed, very keen.
Yeah, no, I've got a great idea. We can stop the seminar right now and start selling the cameras, right? Okay. Acadia Divinity College, they're using in their classrooms for remote learning as well. So that's pretty much it. I've tried to, make sure that be mindful of your time. I know it's evening time in the UK. We have 2-3 minutes left. If there are any other questions, I'd be happy to answer. I'm based in California, but I can be reached. You can reach out to Intermedia and Steve, and if you have questions, need more technical answers on your opportunities, we'd be happy to help you.
Okay, so
Steve,
yeah, that's great. So I'll just do a quick share screen if I could, Javed, just put a couple of slides.
I think there are a couple more questions.
Yeah. Just bear with me a second. There we go. There's a screen. So let's just have a look at the questions that we've got. Right, let's just come out of there for a second. Just need to adjust that. I had a question about the use of the camera in a larger facility, but what about the sound? Are there any restrictions on that? How's that work?
So the camera does have, I forgot to mention that, really good question. The camera has 2 Realtek audio microphones, onboard microphones, work really well even for a room about this size, which could be anywhere from 10 to 15 foot room. The audio is really good. Right now I'm running an external, but I can always switch to my PanaCast camera for the audio as well, and the guys can view that and listen to the audio. But it works really well if you're using Panacast camera as a mic pickup or audio pickup, and you're using screen for your speakers, yeah, it works really well for up to 14, 16 feet rooms. Yep.
Okay, fantastic. Don't think we've got any more questions. I think you've done a fantastic job there, Javed, of explaining things, you know, in a very clear way. So well done there, and thank you. So where do we go from here? You know, you've all spent time on the webinar today, and you know, at the beginning I said I hope that Javed and I, and particularly Javed, to be honest, is you know, going to really give you some value and really give you a good understanding of the technology. Because I think one of the things, certainly with me, who's not particularly a techie person, is understanding what is available and what is on the market today is a real key. So the question is always, what are you going to do? Well, if you want to move things forward with Intermedia Communication Solutions, who I work for, we'd be very pleased to help you.
Steve, parting thought.
I beg your pardon?
Yeah, Steve, one parting thought that I forgot to mention was, just quickly, the whiteboard demo that you guys saw, it really is a very powerful tool. You know, compare it to some of the, you know, there's a trend going on. There's Cisco Spark, there's Google Jamboard, there's Microsoft Surface Hub, all of that. Those are really, really expensive tools. They're really good products, but they're really expensive. With Panacast Whiteboard functionality, it's just a small subscription fees, and it basically converts each of your small huddle room. It's as if you've enabled them with these Jamboards or Sparks or things like that. So it's really powerful, and it protects your investment a lot.
Great, thank you, Javed. So if you want to know more about the Panacast 2, very happy to give you a free demo. We'd like to make a special offer on the webinar right now and say that if you're interested, please get in touch. And we'd be very happy to offer anybody on the webinar today a 10% discount on our products and services. If you want to know how to get in touch, the contact details are there. I'm not going to read that out because you can probably see that, hopefully. Anyway, can you see that, Javed? Yeah? You can see my screen, yeah?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, great. Okay, that's good to hear.
However, I didn't see the contact information. Oh, there you go. Now it's
only just came through. Okay, yep. All right. So, yeah, my colleague Doug, there's his email. He's the best person to contact. So drop Doug a quick email, go to our website, intermedia-cs.co.uk, and again, there's our telephone number. So it'd be great to hear from you. If you've got any questions, if you'd like a demonstration, if you'd like to get a 10% discount, then please feel free to get in touch. So just to finish, on behalf of Javed and myself, Altia and Intermedia Communications, we would like to give you a sincerely big thank you for your time. We really value your time and appreciate you spending some of that time with us. So thank you ever so much for listening, and we hope to hear in due course. Thank you very much.
Thank you.